everyone, and welcome to the studio. Today I am sharing with you my makes from spring of 2025. Okay, so I decided this year that I was going to do at least quarterly updates of everything that I am making, especially since I am not making individual makes videos as much anymore. So I already made a video of everything I made so far in 2025 in March-ish. So I wanted to come back on and show y'all everything I've made since then. I'm calling it spring, but there's some early summer in here as well. It's actually a small haul. I have 3 pieces in 3 months. That's good, actually. That's not horrible. I actually made more than this, but I did do some selfless sewing in the last few months that I will share with y'all, but it is not pictured here. So first of all, this t-shirt dress. This is the Inari Tee dress by Named Clothing. I talked about this in my plans for 2025 and things that I was looking forward to making, I believe. And I finally finished it. I did this really fun arched slit detail at the bottom, and it's pretty high, and this was inspired by some TikTok or other dress. I ended up not doing the shorts that go underneath it because I didn't do the slit quite so high that it needed the shorts, and I felt like it was like a half shorts, half bikini situation, and I thought that was just silly, and I knew it would drive me crazy probably. So I just did the arched slit in the hem, and I didn't do it crazy high. This is a really fun vintage knit t-shirt fabric that I got, I believe, from a thrifty Notion. And I made a short about this and a reel on Instagram. I will link those below if you want to see a little more of a how-to of how I did the slit. But essentially, the pattern has slits itself on the side. I closed those up because I knew I wanted to do the front slit. I tried it on, marked where my leg was, marked how high I wanted it to be, drew in the arch, added seam allowance, cut it out, created like a facing, and then just sewed the facing to the dress. I'm really happy with how it came out. This is a really nice summery pattern. It's a boxy tee, so it's very breathable. This fabric is also very light. I'm typically a no sleeves in the summer kind of girl, but this has been fine. So it's also been like somewhat of a mild summer here. I'll say that as well. That is the Inari Tee dress by Named Patterns Company. Oh, I know when I talked about this. I talked about it in my Everything That's Cut Out video. So I made it. This next make is really fun. This is the Humla Romper by Paradise Patterns. I've really been into like a super short hem lately, and this one, since it is a romper, I felt could have this really fun gathered simple dress look and be short, but I won't flash anyone because it's not a dress. I really like this pattern because it has a built-in bra. It is pretty simple to whip up. The instructions include instructions for doing a French seam. If you want to do that, cool. I was like, speed is my friend, so I didn't do the French seams. I just sewed it all regular. It came together really nice. And you might have seen my post on this, I actually messed up in the very front. I don't even know if you can tell, but when I cut it out, this fabric is also vintage, and I wasn't paying close attention when I cut it out, and there was like a huge chunk missing out of center front that I had ended up patching. And I was like, it's gonna be all gathered. It's probably gonna be fine. And I honestly think it is. Like, I can see it, but if I don't point it out to myself, I wouldn't have even noticed it. This also has side seam pockets, which I think is really great. And I stitched those down I top stitched them. I just think sometimes it's a nicer look rather than having the pocket bags lapping around inside there. I think for certain silhouettes, the stitch down pocket really works well, especially if the fabric is super lightweight or anything like that. That is the Humla Romper by Paradise Patterns. I actually made 2 of these. I made one for my sister who is currently very pregnant, and this pattern is actually not meant to be maternity, but it is maternity friendly, and she advertises it as a maternity pattern, but she also advertises it as non-maternity. And also, who am I kidding? I make maternity stuff for my non-pregnant self all the time. So I originally wanted to make this pattern because I wanted to make one for my sister, and she picked blue. She wanted it to be like this really pretty royal blue, which I snagged some cotton while I was at Joann's in one of their closing sales because it was like the perfect color. However, I knew when I bought it, I was like, I don't know, this seems heavy. I don't know if it'll work for this pattern. And then I ended up thinking, whatever, it's the color she wants. Maybe it'll be fine. It was not fine, friends. I knew as soon as I made it, I was like, this is not gonna hang appropriately. Also, I guessed on the size and it was way too big for her. I'll pop a picture up here. She's gonna hate it. She's not gonna see it. It's fine. So I did make 2 of these this quarter. Luckily, other than threading all the elastic through these channels, it's a very quick make. I did find some new fabric, some lightweight linen rayon blend that I think will be much more appropriate. This is a cotton as well, but it's like super light and drapey. So I don't recommend doing this in anything heavy because it just like tents out and not in a cute way, especially if you're 7 months pregnant. That is the Paradise Patterns Humla Romper. And last thing I have to show you is the Azure dress by Fiber Mood. I am a Fiber Mood ambassador, so every time they have a new issue of Fiber Mood magazine coming out, I get first access to the patterns. And this was one of the patterns that was released for their summer release. I did make a lot of changes to this. The changes were necessary because I hacked this from a vintage men's button-up shirt. So the pattern itself does not have the buttons down the front. And the pattern also has a facing, but since I wanted the buttons to be functional, I just finished the whole inside with bias tape. It has this really fun tie back detail, which kind of ended up weird when I cut it out because it had the pleat in the back at the yoke, and that was like, it was supposed to come to a point, I believe, and that was where that point was. So after I cut it, that pleat like opened up, so I had all this extra fabric in the back. So I changed the point to a scoop, and I stitched the little pleat in, which I was like, whatever, it's made out of a men's shirt, it's fine, it's fun. I did a reel on how I made this shirt, my little progress reel. So I will link that below, and I'll also pop a picture up here because I do have a photo of me wearing this one, and it is super cute. I added pockets to this. Pockets were not included, but I wanted pockets. I actually sewed the whole thing, realized I wanted pockets, debated putting patch pockets, didn't do that. So I just took it apart and I added inseam pockets, and I did the stitch down pockets on this one as well. Oh, I also played around with doing a little breast pocket, like obviously not for function, but just for cuteness. But I didn't love the way it looked. I felt like I liked this streamlined front look. It's a really cute summer dress. There are some darts here. Next time I make this, I will do a narrow shoulder adjustment because it does want to flop off my shoulders, which is very annoying. And it encourages me to have really good posture, which is good, but it gets old by the end of the day. So it's fine if I'm standing a lot. So this is like a standing dress. And that is the Fiber Mood Azure, and this was in their latest summer issue release. You don't have to get the full magazine. All of their patterns are available on their site as well. And the only other thing I made in the last few months was a sleep sack for my soon-to-be new nephew. My sister, who I mentioned, is about 7 months pregnant at this moment, and we had a little sprinkle for her, so I made her the romper, and then I did a sleep sack for the new baby. It turned out super cute. It was a super easy project, and I will link the pattern that I used below for that as well, and I'll pop a picture of it up here. So not a terribly slow season of sewing. I feel pretty good about everything I made in the spring, early summer time, and I look forward to updating y'all and showing y'all what I make at the end of summer, early fall. And that is it from me today. If you liked this video, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss anything from my channel. I've been so good about posting more regularly this year, and I would really love your feedback, and I would love for you to follow along. So be sure to subscribe. And as always, happy sewing. I wanted to show y'all this Inari. Oh, seriously? That is like a long serger thread. And I talked a lot about this in my plans for, did I talk about this dress already? No, I don't think I did. Nope.